Hi tarot friends, welcome back to my channel, and today we are looking at the Ten of Swords. Welcome back to the Walking Through the Tarot series, and welcome if this is your first time visiting me. Welcome back if you visited me before. I really appreciate all of you watching, choosing to spend time with me, and also commenting down below. I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun making this series. It's been a learning experience for me, which is the whole reason I'm doing this. And again, as a reminder, I'm not trying to teach anyone anything. This is primarily for my own learning, so that I can, this is one of the ways that I learned is by comparing and contrasting different arrangements or different renditions of the particular card. So without further ado, let's get moving. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the Radiant Wise Spirit Ten of Swords up here, and then I'll bring up about 45 or so other Rider-Waite-Smith-ish decks over on the right. I'm not going to talk in detail about the differences in the artwork, because I'm planning on doing that later when I have more time for myself, but I am going to read a few different meanings of cards. So let's start with the book meaning of the Ten of Swords. I used to always really be worried when I got this card, to be honest, because it just looks so dire, but I have come to appreciate it. Anyway, so the Kitchen Table Tarot says this. This is literally the bottom. At least things won't get any worse. It's excessive, painful, excruciating, final. There isn't just ill intent around this card. There are flesh wounds. The Ten of Swords can mean literal death, but it more often refers to the person hitting rock bottom. The weight of it all is that the missteps, the mistakes, and the powerless feelings have won, and he is down. This isn't always self-inflicted. Sometimes he's been attacked. The doubt, though, comes from within. If you're flat on your face, you should probably lie down for a bit and catch your breath. Wounds need healing. Take 2 weeks to pout, be pissed and sad and apathetic, and assess what you're going to do next. What you're going to try in order to avoid this feeling in the future. On the reverse side, still terrible, was my notes on that one. All right, so let's have a look at some others. So this is the art history for past lives, and of course this was pre-existing artwork. Trying to read down below, it says Judith decapitating Holofernes by Trophime Bigot in 1640. Wow. Okay. We have the Fountain Tarot. The Dark Mansion. The Tarot Muha. So this is the Modern Witch Tarot, which came with 2 different versions of this card with it. The other one just says Ten of Swords, and I chose to put this one instead in my deck, which says everything is fine. It's no problem. We'll deal with it. I can cry inside. I can, rail and freak out, but I will do that in private. You must not see. That's how that's how I was raised for a very long time. And anyway, that shit is, pardon my language, that has sailed, and I'm learning boundaries and whatnot. So, but I do keep that to remind me. I love that she's holding a selfie. This kind of reminds me of one of the movies, and I'm trying to remember what it was called. It took place in Italy, and in the beginning of the movie, Justin Bieber actually has a very small part where he's being chased and shot at, and he's been shot about 100 times. But in the end, he's got this very dramatic scene where he's down and he pulls out his cell phone and takes a selfie. And based on the shape of his face or the shape of his lips that he makes, they end up solving some crime. I cannot remember what it was called. But if you do recognize what movie that is, please let me know. Yeah, I just can't remember. Anyway, there were a lot of people in it. This is the Hidden Realms, of course, and this speaks to, when we read the description for the Rider-Waite-Smith version in Melissa Sanova's book, it spoke to that railing and despairing and being angry and pissed, and that's what this card says to me. Okay, we're gonna get this over with, and then we're gonna make a plan. The Shadowscapes, the Santa Muerte, which I love, the Mystic Mondays, the Joie de Vivre. Let's just see what that one says here. I just read these, by the way, just completely at random. So, okay, perspective, oppression, anxiety, hope, light. When worry and anxiety overtake your life, it's time for some soul searching and mind healing. Change will begin once you recognize that you need a change. Release those mental fears and have faith that there is always a solution. I love that. I love that. I love that it's not just, this is the end, final, you're down, you've hit the bottom. But it's also important to remember that the fact that you've hit the bottom is both bad news and good news. It's bad that you've gotten to that point, but it's good that the only way is up now, right? It just might take a while to figure out how to move up. The Housewives Tarot, the Mermaid Tarot, same imagery, the Dame Darcy, the Wild Unknown, the Ten of Swords. A lot of people have complained about this card and the fact that it was changed. A lot of people say, oh, I felt like it's rushed. I don't connect with it as much as the original one. And if you have watched anything on Facebook or on social media in general about this deck and this card, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I don't know. I actually like this card. It speaks to me again about, things. Yeah, I've just gone through hell. I've hit rock bottom, and now it's time to watch those birds fly away. It's time to just watch, let things go and make a plan for the future. So I am a fan. The Spirit. This is the Revelations Tarot, which again, you read the right side up, you read from center up. And then for the reversed, you read center upside down, which in this case is pretty much the same. The Spirit Keepers. The Everyday Witch. Let's see what that one says. Okay. It is always darkest before the dawn is the quote that comes with this card. Life seems overwhelming. Our hearts are broken or our spirit is crushed, and it seems like we'll always feel this way. If the Nine of Swords is in the past position, you may... Oh, sorry, that's the Nine of Swords. Sorry about that. Oopsie. Okay. This card says, ouch. If the Ten of Swords is in the past or present position, you're probably feeling a bit rough right now. Did someone let you down or deceive you? If so, were you really surprised, or did you know in your heart of hearts that they couldn't be trusted, but you didn't want to listen to that inner voice? What can you learn from your experience, whatever it was? If some plan went horribly wrong, it may not have been your fault. The only thing you can do is pick yourself up, pull the stupid swords out of your bag, and keep on going. If the 10 of Swords shows up in the future position, watch out. This is a serious warning, and maybe if you heed it, you can save yourself a lot of grief somewhere down the line. I like that there's that warning. The Muse Tarot. The Enchanted Forest. The Game of Thrones. Let's see what that one says. All right, the Game of Thrones. It says, finally, truth endings. A bond is broken. This is the 10 of endings. The evidence is unmistakable, the decision final. Although you may be shocked or confused, with hindsight, you will see that this situation has been building for some time. The upside is that all the surrounding tension has disappeared, making way for you to move on up. On the reverse side, the same meaning, but the ending is protracted, and there will be more anxiety, regret, or conflict to get through before you're able to let go. I love that, actually. That says to me what the essence of what this card is. The Pagan Otherworlds, which I love, love, love. So we've got the 10 crossed swords. We've got, the skull in the bottom, but then we have also all this greenery, which is going to be, which is protected, right? It's got thorns. So to me, this card really says, you're down at the bottom. Yes, but from here you can rebuild. You're going to be stronger. You're going to be smarter, and better than you were before. To me, this card is very similar, and that description in particular is very similar to the Tower. And that's what these all seem to say as well, is that it's not, if you reflect on things, that hitting the bottom is not generally a surprise. It may be if you were betrayed, and I've certainly experienced that, but at the same time, it's not usually a surprise. It's, the betrayal, if you really think about it, then you'll probably see that things have been building for a while. The Influence of the Angels. These are all very similar, so I'm going to go quick. So this is the vice versa, right? So the front, and then on the back, which is interesting. So there's an eclipse, and then there's someone watching. Was he the person that stuck all those swords in there? Or, is he waiting for the person to get up? The Tarot de la Nuit. In this card, it took me a while to this card was actually pretty tough for me to look at when I first got it. And I'll read what the description says. It says, life after drowning. I'm drowning in the waters of betrayal. It's no use struggling against the disaster. I can't but let it go. I feel too desperate and shocked to fight. Something in me needs to die so I can purify my soul from this bad experience. Maybe then there will be a rebirth. I've hit bottom, so things can only get better. Keep the faith. Our drowning might well end. Having survived it will only make us stronger. We won't forget the lessons we've learned through all of this pain and suffering. They'll give meaning to the hard moments in our life, or to this hard moment in our life. Pain, betrayal, drowning soul, but also new beginning, new strength, dawn after darkness. If you have watched my channel before, then you'll know that that was the first deck that I got. And I came to tarot through some really bad times. Like I call it the Tower year, but the Ten of Swords figured very strongly in that as well. And that is why I say it was pretty tough to get that card and to look at that card and work through it. This one is very... wow, this is the Emerging Toronto Artist deck, and that's a pretty crazy looking card too. Hard to look at. Okay, so the zombie, the herb crafters, the wildwood, and the last of the Rider-Waite-Smith style decks is the Next World Tarot. So most of these figured swords sticking in in some part of the person's back or anatomy anyway. All right, let's look at some ancient Italian Marseille style. So if we look first at the Visconti Sforza, let's see if I can adjust this a bit so you can see the whole card. There we go. So obviously the artwork is quite different. Is that sideways? Sorry about that. Okay. So the artwork is quite different, right? We just have the pips, but I'd love again how we've got, you know, the 10 swords, but in between each of the crossings, we've got some greenery and we've got some flowers on the outside as well. So as much as all of this stuff is getting crushed, we do have the possibility of some lightness around it. We have the Minchiate Etruria, the Classico Marsiglia by Il Menegallo. We have the Ancient Italian, and let's see what that one says, because that one seems to have been, or that deck seems to have given slightly different meanings to these cards as well, around the same time as the Thoth with the six of swords. Okay, so the 10 says affliction, psychophysical instability, insanity, unreliability, and hidden pain. So there's nothing good about that card there. The Tattoo Tarot, the Marshmallow Marseille, the 1JJ Swiss, which let's have a look at what that one says. If I have that here, which I'm going to apologize, I don't have, so I'm going to keep going. The Solabusca. It's actually, sorry, before I leave that, does that look familiar? This is, of course, the artwork that inspired, if you can call it that, Pamela Coleman Smith with when she was commissioned to do the pips for the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And this, of course, it is the 10 of Swords, but she actually copied this artwork for the 10 of Wands. The Tarot of the Master, Valentina Visconti, which is my only white and black deck. And we've got the Tarot Classic. Let's have a look at what that one says. Ruin, pain, affliction, sadness, mental anguish, desolation, tears, misfortune, trouble, disappointment, grief, and sorrow. On the reverse side, benefit, profit, temporary gain, improvement, passing success, temporary favor, and momentary advantage. So we do have some of the negative and some of the positive there. We have the Trionfi della Luna, which is pretty much the same artwork, right? Except that the center swords are not only breaking through the guard here, but they have done so having bloodied something, and the blood is still fresh. So it does speak to that momentary advantage, I guess. All right, so that is the Marseilles and Ancient Italian, and now let's look at some Thoth decks. So we'll take these out of here, and that is the Thoth deck, and I have trimmed it right down to the artwork, of course. Then we have the Millennium Thoth, which is basically the same deck, just with updated artwork. We still have all of the same symbols, from the broken sword to the heart to the scales and the other swords, the crucifixes and whatnot. Okay, so let's have a look at what that one says. All right, so the Ten of Swords says, conflicting points of view, inability to see the whole picture, ruin from lack of compromise. And on the reverse side, have flexible thoughts. Look for the bigger picture. Keep going. More needs to be done. So again, we have quite a difference between that system and the others at this moment. I find that very interesting. And there's the Handel Tarot. And let's see what that one says, because that one seems to give slightly different meanings again. Bear with me for just a moment. Okay, so the Ten of Swords says, a destroyed city is a symbol of the modern world bringing its own ruin, but the clear sky shows a return of spiritual truths. The tips of the swords are broken. The divinatory meaning says pain, confusion, personal difficulties, problems, and on the reverse side, troubles passing, relief, need to rest. So here we seem to be going closer to what was more of the Rider-Waite-Smith meaning. So I find that very interesting. Anyway, and that is all I have today for the 10 of Swords. Next, we'll get to the core cards. I hope you've enjoyed this. Let me know if there's anything in particular that, if you've seen a card and you'd like to know what the book meaning is. I'm happy to do that for you. Just leave a comment down below. And, also let me know what your experience with this particular card is. Has it stalked you for any particular reason? Did you figure out why? Anyway, so there we have it. And in terms of my favorite depiction of this, well, first of all, I love just the caption on this. Again, just because of my own experience. And I've certainly felt that before. And I love the artwork on this, as graphic as it is. Yeah, anyway, so there we have it. And I'm glad you're here with me. Sorry, this video, again, is very long. And if you have enjoyed it, please let me know. Leave me a comment down below. And we'll see you next time with the Page of Swords. Bye-bye.